Hello, everyone, and welcome to GoGreen Tuesdays Ideas and Action webinar series. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Merlin Randla, and I'm part of the local GoGreen project, and I'm happy to guide you through today's session, which focuses on renewable energy generation, a key part of helping local communities move toward a more sustainable future. This webinar series is all about sharing practical ideas that help cities and regions move toward clean energy and climate goals, and each session highlights real examples, tools, and projects that municipalities across Europe can adapt and use. Today marks our final session before the summer break, but we'll be back soon with more. On September 30th, we'll focus on energy efficiency in buildings, and in October, we'll continue with sessions on waste to energy, land use, planning, and financing. So if today's session interests you, we hope to see you again after the break. Before we get to our speakers, just a couple of quick notes. This webinar is being recorded and video will be shared afterward. If you would like to use live translation, you will see a pop-up that says Anastasia has shared Wordly. You would have to accept, and then a new window will open where you can choose your preferred language. So now you can open it and pick your language. During the presentations, feel free to write your questions or comments in the chat. We'll take time at the end to go through as many as we can. Today, we're joined by two great speakers. Dr. Stefan Spitzer from Germany, who is the head of scientific research at European Institute for Innovation and Technology. He has background in engineering and years of experience leading EU projects in renewable energy, education, and innovation. He also teaches in Berlin and is known for making complex topics practical and easy to understand. Tsveta Dimitrova from Bulgaria is the CEO of Aberon and chairperson of the Institute of Entrepreneurship, Sustainable Development and Innovation. She has over 20 years of experience in international projects on water, biodiversity, and local development. She's worked with the European Commission, the World Bank, and national ministries, helping turn sustainability goals into real action at the local level. With that, let's begin, and I'm pleased to welcome our first speaker, Dr. Stefan Spitzer.
Good morning, thanks. Yeah, first of all, the question whether you can all see the presentation in the right mode.
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, great. Well then, and again, hello from my side from Berlin.
Stefan, it's not on full screen yet.
It's not?
Yeah, it's not, sorry.
So I'll go through it. So first start with the classification of it, and then I'll go through all the examples. And for the current EU application, I inserted some slides on the last minute, but I can share that anyways. And in the very end, I'll have an outlook, so to see where the whole journey will go or goes. Okay, good, next. So the classification is energy from renewable sources, or renewable energy means energy from renewable non-fossil sources, namely wind, solar, thermal and solar photovoltaic, and geothermal energy, ambient energy, tide, wave, and other ocean energy, hydropower, biomass, landfill gas, sewage treatment plant gas, and biogas. This classification is remarkable because normally classifications are somehow descriptive in a way that they don't start with examples. But here you can see that the topic is quite diverse, and that's why it actually just consists of examples instead of just saying something like renewables is that, in not that, or something. So this is rather a collection than actually a real classification. And this is actually the one from the directive from the EU directly. So yeah, next please. Yeah, so the classification is actually you have renewables and you have non-renewables. And yeah, next please. So every time you have some kind of energy, you ask yourself, is this renewable? Yes or no? For coal, this piles up not in a time scale for humankind. So yeah, coal is of course a non-renewable one. And if you then add the others, wind turbines, once they're built, wind is all the time coming up. So wind turbines, of course, go to the left and they're renewable. And yeah, you can do that for all kinds. You see just a new renewable or power source, and then you say, okay, well, this goes to the left or to the right side, whether this is renewable or non-renewable. And yeah, this is just a short ending for the classification. Well, wind. The force in one direction is transferred into a spinning force, and this drives generator consisting of magnets and coils, and this causing the electrons to move, and which is actually an electric current. And you have to go to the next slide. So yeah, you have here wind going one direction. This causes the turbine to spin, and then you have a generator in the end. One should know that this would actually work the other way, that if you put some current on the generator, the wind turbines would move. I don't think anyone has ever done that to create wind, but for other purposes, this is actually great to know that a generator can also produce electricity or produce force. Next, please. Yeah, for wind, the share in Europe, that was from 2023, was 17.4%. And yeah, Bulgaria was with almost 4%, quite okay. Slovenia was quite low with 0.04%. And I think the highest ones were Germany and Spain, with Germany almost 30% and Spain with 22.4%. I have to say, all these data always change quickly. And that's why it's always quite hard to get the data and compare them, because in every year they're updated and the sources differ like sometimes a bit. Okay, well then to the next slide, please. Solar. So the photoelectric effect causes an electron to leave its level in the atom. This can be applied so that the electrons flow and an electric current is produced. You see here a small schematic how that actually works, that like the photons rip out the electrons, put them to an outer shell, and it's a quite complex effect. It was first well described by Albert Einstein, and I guess just his name causes shivers for those who had to deal with him. The good thing is, however, just like if you drive a car, you don't actually have to know how it works. You just know how to apply it. And this is the same here. So what you should know about it is that you just create electricity from sunlight. So what you should know about is from the next slide, is that the price per installed watt went down from $100 per installed watt to like less than $1 per watt. And it's still decreasing. This was in 2021, in 2023, 4, and now they're installing so many of them, and the production has become so high that actually the costs went even more down. And nowadays, solar is, or it was the first renewable energy that is feasible and can survive without any further investment from the government. This is, so you also see on the next slide, installed solar energy capacity went up since 2005 or 10. You can really see a steep increase in installed solar energy capacity. And leading in the moment is China, and all the others are actually lagging behind a bit. But if you put these on another scale, you would actually see that most of them are also increasing very, very sharply. With Spain is in Europe, I guess, the leading force in the moment. They install a lot of solar energy capacity. So in the moment, the share in Europe is 10.5%, but just like I showed in the ones before, it's very diverse. Of course, the northern countries that only have solar power in summer and don't have any in winter don't rely so much on solar power, but the ones in the south, like just said, Portugal, Spain, they have a quite large share. Germany used to be the driving force, but it's not anymore now. They were more in wind. And yeah, so it's quite mixed. It goes up and up. Okay, great. Yeah, sure. Sorry, next one. So, water. The force in one direction is transferred into a spinning force. You heard that once before. This drives a generator consisting of magnets and coils, causing the electrons to move, which is electric current. I put this here again because here the other application is actually, I think, even more interesting than just the normal production of electricity. Because if you go to the next slide, water or hydropower means two things. So one is on the left side, I would say the classic way, you just put in there a mill or something that is going and going and going more or less the whole year, so quite stable, and is always turning and produces stable electricity all the time. This is a real old one. But yeah, it actually still works kind of the same way. This is turning and turning. And the other is a storage solution. So here you really, if you have enough electricity, you put on the electricity into the generator. This pumps up all the water to some height, a few hundred meters high or a bit below. And then if you need it, you just let the water flow the other way, and the water turns the generator. So this is a great solution if you want to store the energy that, for example, if you have a vast amount of energy during the daytime, but you need some in the nighttime as well, or dusk or dawn, then you can store it with the solution very nice and use it whenever you need it later then. This is applied a lot in Sweden and in Switzerland and in Austria. And the Austrians actually take advantage of this in a few ways. They take the energy from Germany if we produce too much, because especially in Bavaria, there is way too much solar energy when there is sunlight, and they have to get rid of it. And so they even pay the Austrians to take the electricity off them. And then they later on pay again, of course, to get it back from them. And they just store it in, well, these water energy storage solutions. Yeah, go to the next slide. The share in Europe in the moment is 14.1%. Again, here you see quite a different behavior. In the north, there's more of it applied, and in the south, there is less hydropower applied in the moment, excluding tide power plants. I didn't include them here, and other solutions, but only just for the height. Those are more applied in the regions where you have mountains. Yeah, the last one here, the last example is biomass. So the sunlight together with the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is the main resource for plants. And well, these may be used directly or digested by animals and afterwards used for energy generation. You also see here that biomass is one buzzword, let's say it that way, but it actually is can be applied in many different ways. Go to the next slide, please. So one is the energy forestry. Here you have small, fast-growing plants, and can take, well, most of them, they take trees and they're planted and harvested after 1 to 3 years, really in those rows. And they're really harvested. They're not chopped down by hand. They have huge machines that look more or less like those who cut down corn. And with those, they can drive through it. And you see here, new planted ones. They're about 3 months old, and on the left, those are the ones that are about to harvest pretty soon. Yeah, and this is applied a lot in Denmark, where this is a real big thing, that they don't take the fields for crops like corn or wheat or something. They really take that for power plants. Another solution is biogas plants, where you have either a direct insertion of high energy plants like corn, or you have manure from cattle or pig farms, or waste like food or leaves, or from chicken. You can also take manure or other waste. In Germany, it's very diverse how much energy you get from that. If you take corn, for example, you don't get a lot of revenue from the state for the electricity that is produced. If you take manure, or if you take especially leaves, then you get way more for that. And yeah, so it depends a bit where you are and how much you actually get funded or you get back from the state for the electricity you produce. Go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so here another biogas plant example. You can actually take corn or manure, or you take leaves, or you can food waste, but you all actually put it together in the power plant. It gets digested just the same way. It doesn't matter for the bacteria which one of these they take. And afterwards, you may also use that refining the gas. It's not only methane getting produced, it's also hydrogen and a bit of carbon dioxide, and it has a lot of water also. So it's about 75 to 80% of methane, and you can refine that and put that in the gas grid. So you may stabilize the gas grid with that. Or and this is like done in 1 of 4 power plants in Germany at the moment. Or what you also may do is putting that directly into a motor, and then you may use the energy and or the heat. If you do both, you get actually a lot out of it. If you just use the energy, this is not like a newly installed ones in Germany. This is not done anymore because it's not so feasible. But if you use the energy and the heat and use it especially on site, this is still a very promising technology. Okay. Before we come to the outlook, I have to share my slides. I think it's not the I think you still get the idea, even though this is quite small. So I said before, getting data, especially updated one, is sometimes quite hard, because normally you just get that a few years later, and all the countries have a kind of diverse way of counting sometimes. But here's an example for Spain and a share of energy from renewable sources. And here you see it really went up and up and up all the time. But what is really nice, there is an app if you want to look up most of the energy production in the moment. So yeah, here's app electricity maps, or you can simply scan the QR code. And what you see there is a map of Europe and the whole world as well. And you can see how the energy is produced, where it is produced. You can also click on the country and select last year or last 72 hours. Here is, for example, for Spain. And then you see all the energy sources they used. So Spain did still use some gas, some nuclear, but the most of it was solar actually. And you also see where they import or export it from or to. And you can do that for all countries. And sometimes it's even divided into regions, like here in Italy. And yeah, you have that for all states in America. There's some, Ukraine is in the moment excluded for reasons, but you can go here and see electricity, emissions, share. You also see that France is always very, very green because this tool counts nuclear as renewables, what is still a matter of discussion, I would say. But yeah, it's a very good solution to get firsthand data and quickly, and to compare it with, yeah, with other, to compare the countries amongst each other. So back to the slides, sorry, to the outlook. Yeah, so because Sveta is actually talking about the applications a bit further, I just have this one here. I like this a lot. It is quite likely that the science of the future will teach us how to produce fuels that are easier to handle, such as hydrogen, with the help of electricity. The next step from the production of fuels to that of nutrients is also not inconceivable. In fact, it does not take too much imagination to envision a future in which mankind uses the living power that the sun rays, or solar power, supply to the earth in unmeasured quantities, and which is partly available to us for the direct use in the wind and in waterfalls to produce all the necessary fuel with the help of the electricity, and learns to do without the coal stocks, so without carbon emissions, carefully piled up by nature for its childhood without any disadvantages. You go one further. I highlighted here like all the, I would say, buzzwords that are still around, like hydrogen, electricity, sun, like solar power, wind, water, hydropower, and carbon emissions. And I always give these my students and ask whether they have any clue from which date this is from, like when someone said, yeah, the science of the future will handle all these problems with renewables. And I get quite diverse answers. I guess here in the moment, I'll just leave the guessing out. If you go to the next slide, this is from 1880 from Werner von Siemens in the first Deutsche Praktische Chemiker Zeitung. He back then predicted that actually what is going on in the moment, and I mean, putting all the, I would say, solutions and all the ideas, they're actually there, and they have been there for now 125 years. And yeah, perhaps now it is a bit time to put these long known ideas in action, even in municipalities. And with that, yeah, thanks for your interest in our work, and I'm more than happy to question any answers now or later via email. I don't know whether we have any.
Yeah, I think we don't have any right now. Thank you so much, Stefan. And I have also prepared some questions for you, but we'll come back to them
Great.
after Sveta's presentation. And I think your presentation was very insightful, and it provided us a clear overview of renewable energy production. And it's always valuable to see both the science and strategy behind how we transition to clean energy. So thank you for that. But now,
Yeah, sorry
let's.
again for the problems with the slides.
It's okay, it happens. Now we'll move from the broader landscape to into some more concrete real world examples. And I would ask Sveta to present now. The floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. I'm trying to open the camera. Don't know. Now I have troubles with the camera. Anyways, all right.
Yes, we can
Let
see
me
you.
share my screen first. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So, hello, everybody. My name is Tsveta Dimitrova, and I'm the managing partner of the private consulting company Aberon. And I was thrilled basically to look for European practices of deployment of the renewable energy sources but I decided to focus on Bulgaria as we represent Bulgaria. And as you perhaps know, Southeastern Europe now, and since the last maybe 7, 8 years, is in the focus of the European Commission because we are lagging behind implementing some green policies, refining our regulation, our legislative framework, and speeding up innovation, not only in energy, but in various sectors of the economy. So what I'm going to present today are some best practices or examples of what we are doing in Bulgaria in renewable energy sources. So a quick overview of the country various sources. We have currently 6,757 megawatt of installed renewable energy capacity, which is only 22.5 of the country energy mix. So of this installed capacity, 53% is photovoltaic, or 3,612. 2,375 is hydropower. A little bit, 707 megawatt is wind power, and 64 megawatt are attributed to other renewable sources. I have to mention, though, in this here we don't show the availability of nuclear energy because Stefan mentioned about France. Bulgaria is also producing nuclear power, which covers most of the needs of the country and also is exported to other neighboring countries. So here we focus on the renewables, and we are going to see how the dominance of the photovoltaics is a relatively new phenomenon. So we speak now about about hydropower. So Bulgaria is very rich in water resources, rivers and streams, because we have very high mountains, and obviously the hydropower needs to be displayed. I mean, to come from a high mountain to have a declining terrain where uneven terrain where the water can flow down. So the hydropower in the country is concentrated in 95 municipalities, where you see on the map that we have prepared, it is located in Rila Mountain, on the verge of Rila Mountain, and the Rhodope Mountain, which is south of Bulgaria, close to the Greek border. So we have two of our largest hydroelectric plants are the Belmeken and the Sestrimo, and the third and fourth largest are the Orpheus and the Peshtera hydropower plants. The wind power is generated where very geographically limited, but the main one is located at the northern Black Sea coast, where the slopes of the Centro-East Stara Planina, this is the Balkan mountain dividing Bulgaria to north and south, and the eastern Stara Planina are joining. So this is close to Varna. It's a huge wind park near Kaliakra, near Kavarna. It is with almost 400 megawatt. And the largest wind farm is called Sveti Nikolo with 156 megawatt power. The other one is almost in the middle of the country, in the town of Kazanlak and the municipality of Suvorovo, and they are part of the Suvorovo wind power plants. In the presentation of Stefan, we missed to hear about the geothermal energy. Since several years, we are working on different designs and different pilot projects for geothermal energy because Bulgaria is very rich on geothermal sources. We have several resorts and spas with geothermal power. We have several towns and villages where some kindergartens are heated with geothermal energy, and also, of course, greenhouses use geothermal water. So the potential for geothermal in Bulgaria, geothermal use, is 5,000 megawatt per hour for direct personal use for heating and cooling. This means that households can use between 5 and 30 megawatt hour of heat per year. 3,000 megawatt for using central heating and cooling systems, like the thermal capacity of Sofia district heating is over 3,000 megawatt. And 250 to 300 megawatt per hour for production of electricity from deep coal resources. For instance, the Unit 7 of the thermal power plant Marița Istok 2, modernized back in 2014, is 232 megawatt. So the geothermal installations are known as such as constantly operating capacities, and they are different from wind, solar, and even hydro systems for renewable energy production, because the others, I mean the wind, solar, and even hydro, depend on numerous meteorological and natural variables. That is why we consider the role of geothermal energy as a very high potential in terms of energy security. And we are also exploring the capacity here of Sofia region. And we have designed, maybe a couple of years ago, with the mayor of Sofia, a pilot project for using geothermal water of Sofia municipality of the capital for heating the whole capital. Let's focus back on the photovoltaics. There is the last years, due to the Green Deal and the clean energy transition policies of the European Union, focusing on the solar power, which shows an intensive growth. And data that we see and that we find on the European Commission and for our country as well, is that the investment interest in renewable energy sources, specifically in photovoltaic plants, has remained intense over the past year and throughout Bulgaria. The photovoltaics, therefore, have turned into the leading renewable technology, which results in the implementation of various active measures on national and regional level. The reasons for this is that the profits of this type of power plant during energy crisis are very high. The affordability of using sun power versus other types of power is also very affordable and much easier. And also we have to align with the green policies of the European Union. The only problem that Bulgaria has faced so far is the oversupply of photovoltaic electricity in the country due to this high interest and different funding subsidies coming from the state, which results several months ago in zero or even negative electricity prices, which of course harms the profit of the photovoltaic plants. Now I'm going to move to some examples, some best practices that I want to share with all of you on using innovative approaches for renewable energy resources, increase the share of the renewable energy sources in the electricity mix. The most advanced one and the cutting edge one is the so-called Zahir or Zagora Sustainable Hydrogen Region. This is a project which is funded under Horizon Europe, and it is meant to install a hydrogen technology in Stara Zagora. Stara Zagora is a strategic logistics center in Bulgaria and the Balkan Peninsula, and it is the region when the biggest power coal production complexes in Europe are located. They are known like Maritsa East thermal power plants. Two of them, one is private, one is state-owned still, and there is another which is also owned by American investors. So Stara Zagora is one of the region where the Just Transition Fund is going to be used for transiting from coal production to renewable energy sources. And this is a very, how to say, contradicting a little bit moment in our energy policy, because we have to meet the targets of these coal regions in Europe, meaning together with Poland and in Spain, because this region employs, Stara Zagora region, employs 12,000 people who are employed in the thermal power plants. And unfortunately, during this short transition period that we managed to put forward a little bit, these people are threatened by not being able easily to change their vocational training and to find other type of employment, ensuring them the wages they are getting now, because currently in this region, the wages are much higher than in Sofia region. So this region will be the perfect location to showcase the versatility and the potential of green hydrogen, which will lead to improve air quality in the city, reduce the carbon emissions for energy production and mobility applications, and generate economic welfare. So the demonstrations of clean, safe, and sustainable hydrogen technology applications will also lead to improving the public perception of the hydrogen ecosystems and kickstart of a hydrogen-based economy, not only in the region, but across the country as such. So a little bit more about the project. This Zahir project is coordinated by Trachea University of Stara Zagora and is supported by, as I said, by Horizon Europe funding, has a total budget of 17.3 million euro, of which 8 million are coming from the European Union, and the rest are provided by the Bulgarian Ministry of Innovation and Growth and the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. The project, of course, strategically aligns with REPowerEU, the Green Deal Industrial Plan, and the Clean Hydrogen Joint Undertaken. It will position the country as a regional leader in hydrogen development, and will serve as a blueprint for how former coal regions can successfully transition to clean energy while retaining jobs and industrial capacity. I have to mention also that together with Stara Zagora region, there are two other Bulgarian cities that are going to join. One of them is located on the southwest of Bulgaria, Kyustendil, and one is in the middle, also in the Balkan mountain, Karlovo. So Kyustendil and Karlovo, there are three cities joining the project. But the Zahir project is going to build the so-called Hydrogen Valley. So Hydrogen Valley, this is meant as a local ecosystem which connects the production, transportation, and consumption of hydrogen by end users, where they share a common infrastructure through which the hydrogen is produced and supplied, and is going to be used by different businesses and diverse sectors of the economy, as I already mentioned, electric mobility, energy, or industry. Now, some of the key performance indicators, which are so far targets, as laid down in the project. So the combined installed power of this hydrogen region or valley will be 20 megawatt photovoltaic plant, from which 10 hydrogen buses will be fueling, 2 hydrogen power trucks. The plant will power 1 megawatt fuel cell for street lighting in Stara Zagora and other public infrastructure. And the hydrogen can be blended or mixed with natural gas to reduce emissions from the industrial turbines in the Maritsa East energy complex. The project aims to produce finally 500 tons of green hydrogen annually, which makes it one of the largest similar projects in Southeastern Europe. Of course, the project provides for a broad training and education program for those involved in the coal production, resulting in a specific master's degree. Now I'm going to move to 2 other projects which are really very new and innovative projects for us, and those are 2 examples of building citizens' energy communities in our country.
And I'm just gonna interrupt for a second.
Yeah.
I'm just reminding that we're a bit tight on the schedule, so we have a couple more minutes until the Q&A.
All right. So I have 2 more examples. One is the Gabrovo Energy Community, which was the first in our country, where the construction of 175 solar panels with 100 kilowatt solar power is installed on the roof of the landfill management facility. It involved also crowdfunding campaign for citizens for 660,000 less or 80,000 euro. The money was collected under a month, and every contributor or every shareholder was able to receive dividends, is going to receive dividends from the electricity production proportion to their investment. So the other impacts of this community is a democratic exercise, creating a new sense of ownership, share responsibility, and community engagement, and also serves as a pilot replication as well in Bulgaria. This community has been established under the European EU LIFE program and the project Tandems. Currently, Gabrovo is preparing to launch a second energy community as a follow-up of the first one. And my second example is the Burgas Energy Community on the Black Sea. It is funded under the EU Power Ecom initiative. Here, the power plant, the photovoltaic systems are displayed on the roof of the indoor swimming pool, which is innovative approach in turning unused public roof space into productive green infrastructure. It is also a system that allows citizens to go on and benefit from the electricity produced, functioning both as prosumers and stakeholders. And we see that they have invested between 511 and 5,110 euro each, and which are going to be paid back over a 10-year period with a dividend of 30%, and they finally going to get the ownership of the solar power plant. Here also we have some other facts of this Burgas Energy Community, which is meant to provide sustainability at very little risk. It is municipality-led, which offers a strong model how cities can institutionalize community energy. What I have to say as well is that the municipality is committed to buying the produced energy at fixed prices, and the financial indicators of the project are attractive, while the goal is not to make profit, but to benefit the society, because the investment in green energy is seen as an investment in the future of the residents of the city of Burgas. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm open to questions.
Thank you very much, Sveta. It was a very interesting presentation, and it was good to see all these examples of how you have implemented them in your region. And now let's move on to the Q&A. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat or just directly ask them from our speakers. So first, since we don't seem to have any questions, I have a couple of questions to Stefan first, if you're here.
Yes, sure.
So you showed us a range of renewable energy sources in use across Europe. In your opinion, which source holds the most untapped potential right now and why?
I think biogas, because it is not, no, in Germany it's vastly implemented and actually over implemented because it was funded so much, but in other countries it's not used at all. And in Germany they even used like corn, and so in the end like people came up and said like, well, we might better eat the corn than using it for energy production. But if you take manure or food waste, in many countries they're still just like thrown somewhere, not used at all. And since the use of it is actually quite versatile, so you can either use like the gas or you can use it for electricity or heat. This is, well, not at all done in many other countries. So yeah, I would say biogas holds a lot of potential. Just saying, because I think solar has been, it's the same that biogas had a few years ago in Germany is like the same now for solar. It is being vastly installed everywhere, and perhaps, I don't know, I wouldn't say even a bit too much, but like so much that the potential actually in the end that is left is not that high anymore.
Yeah, okay. But do you see any promising innovations in solar, wind, or these types of categories that could make a big difference locally in the next few years, for example?
Yeah, I mean, still where they're not installed yet, or for example, on supermarkets or in stadiums, what Sveta just showed, like on unused rooftops, solar still is a great solution for everything. Wind is a very heated discussion in Germany, whether it's already overused or where to use it. And I would say here it wouldn't be a thing of actually innovation in Germany, but a thing of regulation, that it can be used more. For example, the reason why in Bavaria there's so much solar and so little wind is that they knew that they had to somehow install some renewables, but everyone was for some reason against windmills. So they all said like, yeah, we just go for solar. And they made regulations that you had to be 10 times the height of the wind power plant away from the next house. And with that, if you look at Bavaria, you just need one house, and with that you have like, I mean, they're high, they're 200 meters high, so 2 kilometers from that it was not able to put any. And with that, more or less all of Bavaria was not it wasn't, no one was able to put any wind power plants. So I would say that's more a thing of regulation than innovation. And yeah, for solar, more or less the same, that if you put it directly where it's used and on unused rooftops, supermarkets is always a great example, then, or schools, then I think there is some potential left actually. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. And as we're on a tight schedule, I have a couple of questions for Sveta as well. You showed us two examples of Gabrovo and Burgas, and to my understanding, These show two different models of community energy, one citizen-led and one led by municipality. Which approach do you think has more potential for replication in Bulgaria and beyond?
For beyond, I don't know, but for Bulgaria, definitely municipality-led, because the municipality can provide insurance, can participate with the area, I mean, as a collateral to potential loans or funding that can be private funding or public funding. And also the municipalities in Bulgaria are those still who can lead and make this cooperation between various stakeholders. Private citizen initiative are not missing, there are, but because currently in Bulgaria there are two instruments providing funds for single or detached house energy efficiency, where people can install up to 10 megawatt power, solar power. People are somehow inclined to put solar panels in their houses. As far as condominiums are concerned, this is the most complicated issues because there is a community of owners, registered as a legal body, which has to be involved. And there are other complications there related to legal framework, related to property ownership of the building or on the area, I mean, under where the building is built, and many other permissions or administrative hurdles. So yeah, so we say that municipality-led. If we speak for beyond, and because we are currently working under another project for energy communities under LIFE program, we found out that our colleagues in Croatia and our colleagues in Italy, they also emphasize on the municipality as the leading partner in such a community energy project. So the regulations may be a little bit similar with some national variables, but the power of the local power obviously is the one who is going to lead such an endeavor. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
How
sense.
is in Estonia? Do you have energy communities in Estonia?
Yes, we actually do. And actually, me myself, I'm in an energy community. People can start them themselves and share different things that they have to do there. But yeah, they are a thing in Estonia, and they're also supported by the government. So,
Okay.
yes. It seems that our time's up now, but I thank you all for coming, and we hope that you got some new insights from this session, and we'll hope to see you in September, 30th of September, where we will talk about energy efficiency of buildings. Thank you all for coming, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best.
Bye.